One of the strange things in maths is that the definition of a line is something which is infinitely long. So you can't have the middle of a line. A line segment is part of a line which has a starting point and a finishing point, and that does have a middle. So in this skill we're looking at how we find the middle of a line segment. So we're going to start with this AB here, and I'm going to do it two ways. The first way I'm going to do it using the graph, and the second way I'm going to do it using the formula. So we're going to start by looking at using the graph first. So if we think about, I'm starting at point A and I'm trying to get to point B. Well, to go from point A to point B, I need to go 1, 2 to the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 down. So I've gone 2 right and 4 down. So if I'm only going to the midpoint, I only want to go half that distance. So for my midpoint, I'm just going to go 1 to the right, and then I'm going to go 2 down. And that's where I'm going to end up. 1 right and 2 down would get me to the midpoint. Well, if I started at 1, going 1 to the right is going to take me up to 2. So the midpoint here, for AB, the midpoint is going to be, started at 1, went 1 to the right takes me to 2, and started at 4 and went 2 down takes me down to 2. So the midpoint is 2, 2. And you may have been able to see that just by looking at the line and saying, let's guess where the middle is. That's fine, but questions are likely to be more complicated than that one. So you can do it using the graph there. The alternative is to use my formula. So looking at the formula, what this is telling me to do is to find the average of the x-coordinates and find the average of the y-coordinates, adding them together and dividing by 2. So my point A is the point here, 1, 4. My point B is here, it's the point 3, 0. This is point 1, this is point 2. So, just labelling these, that's the x-coordinate of point 1, that's the y-coordinate of point 1. This is the x-coordinate of point 2, this is the y-coordinate of point 2. Using my formula, find the average of the x-coordinates. So the midpoint is going to be at 1, which is x1, plus x2, which is 3, 1 plus 3 divided by 2, and y1, which is 4, plus y2, which is 0, divided by 2. 4 plus 0 divided by 2. Well, 1 plus 3 is 4, divided by 2 is 2, and 4 plus 0 is 4, divided by 2 is 2. So that tells me my midpoint was 2, 2. Let's try and do the same for my green line, CD. So, again, I'm going to do that using the method of working how far across and down I go to get from C to D, because I've got the graph. So, starting here, I've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across, and I've gone 1, 2, 3 down. So 5 across and 3 down. I need to half that. Half of 5 is 2.5. So now I'm going to want to go 2.5 squares across. 1, 2 and a half takes me to here. That's 2.5. Half of 3 is 1.5. 1, 1.5. So it's going to take me there. I started at minus 3 and went 2.5 to the right. That's going to take me to minus 0.5. And we can see there I'm minus 0.5. I started at minus 1. I started at positive 1 on the y-axis, and I went 1.5 down to 0, down to negative 0.5. So here, this gives me negative 0.5, 0.5, negative 0.5. And I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to try and use the formula. So, C was the point negative 3, 1. D was the point 2, minus 2. Averaging my x-coordinates is going to give me negative 3 x1 plus x2 plus 2 divided by 2, and averaging my y-coordinate 1 plus negative 2 divided by 2. Bit more complicated because I've got negatives here. Negative 3 plus 2 is going to give me negative 1. Negative 1 divided by 2 is negative 0.5. 1 plus negative 2, plussing a negative is taking away, so 1 take away 2 is negative 1, divided by 2 is negative 0.5. So again, I get the midpoint as negative 0.5, negative 0.5. In the exam, if you're given the graph, it's helpful to count the squares. If you're not given the graph and you're just given the coordinates, you need to use this midpoint formula. Add together the two x coordinates and divide by 2. Add together the two y coordinates and divide by 2. If this appears on a calculator paper, do feel free to use a calculator to help you do this so that you don't make mistakes with negative numbers. Pause the video now, write down the worked example, and then there's some questions for you to try yourselves. Okay, so we've got 8 questions here. The first 4 you've been given a picture to help you. For the second set of 4 questions, you've just been given the coordinates, and so you're going to need to use the formula to work it out. Pause the video now, have a go at those questions, and when you're ready, press unpause to go through the solutions. Okay, so for AB you should have got 3, 4, which you could have actually seen straight away from the diagram, then 3, 2, minus 1, 2, minus 0.5, minus 0.5. For question 2, you should have got 4, 7, 0, minus 1, minus 6, 1, and minus 5.5 minus 2.5. Give yourself a mark out of 8. If you need any additional assistance on this, please take a look at Hegarty clip number 200. Well done.